Hi, my name's Mark. I'm a product pre-sales specialist for Hikvision UK. Today I'm going to cover how to set up facial recognition using our DeepInView 7 series cameras. I'll go over the basic settings first so you can see how to get up and running, and then I'll take a more detailed look at the configuration and show you how to get the most accurate recognition for each individual installation. The DeepInView cameras actually have 6 different intelligent functions. We're going to cover facial recognition today, but they also support people counting, hard hat detection, queue management, perimeter protection, and multi-target type detection. We'll cover those in separate videos. There are currently 3 camera types in the 7 series range. We have an internal varifocal dome, an external varifocal dome with a built-in heater, and an external varifocal bullet also with a built-in heater. These are all available in 2, 4, 8 and 12 megapixel versions. To set up facial recognition, the first thing we need to do is upload into the camera photos of the people we want it to be able to recognise. This might be members of staff, VIP visitors, or known criminals or troublemakers. We can have up to 3 separate face picture libraries on the camera, so we can identify all these different types of people and react appropriately. Once we have the camera installed, we can set the area of the scene where we want it to find and identify people. The camera will continuously scan for faces within the designated area, and as soon as it finds a face, it will compare it against all the photos in the database looking for a match. It will then trigger whatever alerts you've configured, and you can take the appropriate action. I'll connect to the camera's web page now, and we'll look at how to set it up. The first thing we need to do is make sure the camera is in face capture mode. Under Configuration and System Settings, we have an option for VCA Resource. In here, we can see the currently selected function is face capture, which is what we need. If we choose a different function and hit Save, the camera will reboot and then the new function will be active. Next, we need to set up at least one face picture library and upload some photos. By default, we have a library called VIP, which we can rename if we want to, and we can have a total of 3 libraries if we need them. To add photos, we choose the face library on the left, and then we can upload the photos from the local computer. To add a single photo, click Add, choose the photo to upload, and enter the person's name. You can also add gender, date of birth, and an ID number if you want to. Now click OK, and the face is added. If you have multiple photos to upload, you can add them in bulk by using Import instead of Add. This will let you select multiple photos, and it will automatically name each person based on the file name of the photo. Okay, now we have some photos in the library, we need to configure the basic recognition settings. There are 2 parts we need to set up. First, there's face capture. This enables the camera to capture human faces in the scene. Then we have the face comparison, where the camera compares those captured faces to the people in our picture libraries. You can use the camera to just capture faces without trying to identify them, but we're going to set up both parts today. In face capture, there are 3 sections. Overlay and capture defines what information will be displayed on the camera view when a face is captured. We'll cover that in more detail later. Shield region lets you set an area in the scene where you don't want the camera to capture faces. And rule is where we set up the most important details. We click rule to make sure it's active, and then we need to set a few options to help the camera identify faces accurately. So the further someone is from the camera, the smaller they appear to be, and the closer they are, the larger they appear to be. We need to tell the camera both the smallest and the largest that a person in this specific scene is going to appear. The best way to do this is to get someone to stand facing the camera as far away as possible. If you click this first icon, you can now draw a box around their face, and you've told the camera the smallest object it should try to identify as being a human face. Now get the person to stand as close to the camera as possible, and use the second icon to draw another box. This is the largest object the camera will try to identify. You can see down here that the minimum and maximum pupil distance has been set based on the boxes you just drew. This shows the minimum and maximum number of pixels. You can change this manually, but the facial recognition will be more accurate if you set it up by drawing the boxes with a real person in the scene. This third icon lets you set the area of the scene where you want to capture faces. You can draw a shape here with up to 10 points to fully cover the area you're interested in. Once you've set everything the way you want it, make sure you click Save. Now we can set our arming schedule, which by default is 24/7, and then the alarm linkage. We can choose Notify Surveillance Center, which includes the HikConnect app, upload to FTP or SD card. And we can trigger the camera's alarm outputs. Remember, these settings and notifications are just for face capture. To set up facial recognition, we need to go to Comparison and Modeling. Under Face Picture Comparison, we'll make sure it's enabled, choose which face picture library we want to configure, and then set our arming, schedule and linkage method. In here we have the option to send an email notification, which we didn't have in the face capture section. If you have more than one face library, you can set different arming schedules and linkage actions for each one. And that's the basic configuration done. You can test it out by going to Smart Display, where you'll be able to see real-time updates as the camera captures faces and finds a match in the selected face picture library. Underneath the live view, you'll see a continuously updated view of the most recent faces the camera has captured. On the right is real-time analysis. If the camera found a matching person, it will show their library photo and details, as well as how accurate the match is. Regardless of whether or not it found a match in the system, it will also display information about their physical characteristics, such as their gender, approximate age, whether they're wearing glasses, and so on. Okay, so that's the basics of how to set up your camera for facial recognition. Next, we'll go back into the settings and cover them in more detail so you can see how to get more accurate results from the camera. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the other settings. I'll go back into face capture and overlay and capture, which I skipped over earlier. If display VCA info on stream is ticked, then when we watch live video or playback, we'll see a green box around the face that the camera has captured. Display target info on alarm picture is similar, but the green target box will appear on the photo that gets sent when a face is captured. Under target picture settings, we can choose what sort of picture we want. Just the person's head, the top half of their body, or the full body. We can also choose custom and enter our own numbers here. If we choose fixed value, we can fix the height of the picture to whatever set value we want. The face pictures that the camera captures can be uploaded to an NVR. Here we can choose the picture quality and resolution. We also need to select background upload, otherwise the picture won't be uploaded to the NVR. If you're using the NVR to compare the captured pictures against pictures in its face library, then you need to make sure this is enabled or it won't work. And finally, we can choose some extra information to be overlaid onto the captured face pictures. Now let's look at the advanced configuration. Most of the time you won't need to touch this, but it can help if you're having problems with recognition. Generation speed affects how quickly the camera starts trying to recognize a face. If you increase this number, it will be faster, but potentially less accurate. Sensitivity affects how likely the camera is to identify something in the scene as being a human face. If you increase this number, it will increase the likelihood that faces will be identified, but also increase the likelihood of false identifications. So unless the camera is missing faces that you're sure it should be picking up based on your other settings, you're best leaving this at the default. Face capture mode can be set to either best shot or quick shot. In best shot, the camera will wait until the face has left the scene and then select the best quality photo it took. Quick shot will just select the first photo it takes, which meets the minimum recognition threshold. Capture times sets how many times the face will be captured while it's in the specified area. Capture threshold defines how good the image needs to be before it will be captured. If you set this higher, then low quality images won't be captured and therefore won't trigger alarms and so on. If we choose Quick Shot, we get some additional options. Quick Shot Threshold determines how good the picture needs to be before the camera will consider it worth capturing. Minimum Capture Interval defines how long to wait between captures. And Capture Times lets you choose how many pictures will be taken. You can choose a set number here or leave it on unlimited. Face exposure settings can be used to make sure you have a clear captured face image even if the scene is quite bright or quite dark. If the image is too dark, then the captured face will be made brighter without affecting the rest of the video, and if the image is too bright, then the captured face will be made darker. The reference brightness lets you choose what level of brightness you want in the captured image. If the scene is darker than this, the capture will be brightened, and if it's lighter, then the capture will be made darker. Once the face has left the scene, the brightness will return to normal. You can set here how long to wait before this happens. If we don't want to capture faces of people who are only passing through the area, we can set the face filtering time. Any face that remains in the scene for less than the selected number of seconds will be ignored. And finally, we have the option to reset everything back to the defaults. So if something's not working the way you expect when you've been changing the settings in here, just reset it and you should be back in business. And then of course, as always, make sure you click save. And that's everything. I hope you found that useful. There will be more videos to come showing the other features of the DeepInView cameras, but for now, thanks very much.